got a little bit of different curve today. We usually work with Autism Services on a few of these, but we found a new cause for this week. So I want to introduce everybody to Mike Hanson here, and I'll let him do a little intro. But we've been doing some fundraising through one of Mike's projects, and I'm gonna have him explain it. But it's been something that Amy and I saw. It was brought to me by one of our PR group, Michelle Sherman, and I appreciate her putting us in contact. And obviously, it's been a great few weeks here of doing some campaigning, bringing some funds in. So we'll get to that in long form. But Mike, who are you?
Well, I'm Mike Hanson. First and foremost, father of four children, happily married, and three boys, one girl. And my two oldest boys, which is kind of related to this podcast, they were diagnosed with autism in 2012 when they were 2 years old. So we've been on this journey with autism for the past 13 years. I think the timing is similar to your family as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so through that journey that we've gone through, we saw a lot of other kids that were getting left behind as we came from I've had a good career, I've had good education, I've got great family support, extended family support, and so anyways, my wife and I had saw other kids that didn't necessarily have all those same things that we had, and it's a lot of times the kids that suffer from it and the families. So yeah, we've started to focus our efforts on helping others.
So, not like you said, not much different than our story. And obviously, the advocating is a bit new to us over the last year or two of just kind of going down this route. But I I chat GPT'd you. I cheated,
Oh
so
yeah.
I wanted a little bit of background. So tell us a bit about, I guess, this one and what the plan is for this fundraising campaign and kind of why you chose what you chose.
So this fundraising campaign, we a friend of mine and I, his name's Dave Morin. We are going to run 10 marathons in 10 consecutive days across all 10 Canadian provinces. Um, in 2017, I did my first marathon and I had raised $61,000 for an organization called BTLC, or Behavior Therapy and Learning Center. And so $61,000 at the time we thought was a huge accomplishment. So we wanted to do something this time significantly bigger and kind of push ourselves to our physical limit, and then use that to raise as much money as we possibly think we could raise with one event. And through various conversations, discussions, and our own physical tests that we've done along the way, this is what kind of came up. So yeah, so we decided this. It's well over 2 years ago. The first concept was almost 4 years ago, and then it was, I think, the summer of 2023 where we committed to it. It took a while to get to the point where we really started putting it out there, but we committed to the initial planning and all those things. So yeah, we're trying to raise $1 million to support three charities. One of them is Autism Asperger's Friendship Society, which is more focused in Calgary and surrounding area, and then KidSport, which is a national organization, and Big Brothers Big Sisters, which is also has chapters all across Canada.
Can you tell me, Mike, have you always been a runner, or like was it a therapeutic thing you needed to do to get out of the house, or was it did you run in high school or university or anything like that, or were you just like, hey, you know what, let's get in some shape and raise some money?
I was definitely not always a runner.
Okay.
If we went back to when I was younger, Dave, on the other hand, was in cross country and all this stuff. When
Okay.
went back when I was younger, I probably would have been one of the least likely people to do this. I played sports and all that stuff, but if it was on the baseball team, for instance, I was the slowest guy one year, and then every second year I was the second slowest because there was another kid that was offset by 1 year with me. So I was never picked first if we were doing track or cross country or anything like that. I actually really didn't like just running at all. And then it was 2014 that I got into running, and really I just got out of shape. And I think, parents can all probably relate to this. And we had a lot going on with
Yeah.
our boys. And the one thing that I could do easily was just put on a pair of shoes, put the kid after the boys went to bed, put on a pair of shoes, shorts, and just walk out the door, and you could go run for half an hour. And I slowly started tolerating it more and more, I guess. And then it got, so I set a goal. I would run 1,000 kilometers in a year. And then, a few years later, I did my first marathon. And then over the last, I guess it's been 11 years, I started to actually enjoy it. And the therapeutic side of it now is like, it's a huge part of why I do it. I feel so much better every day when I've ran in the morning, and there's things that you just can't figure out or get off your mind, and you go out and run for an hour or two and you just feel way better. So it's been a bit of an evolution over 11 years now, I guess. And this is where we're at now is probably a lot more than I would have ever thought I would run.
So does your family, do they do any of this running as well? Or what do they think of the whole dad runs and raises money for autism organizations? Like, are they aware of their diagnosis, your children?
Yes.
Can they?
Yeah, they definitely are. Like, our boys, I mean, they're identical twin boys, and they have developed very differently over the past, 12 years with this. One of them, he really needs little to no support anymore. Well, actually, no support. He goes to a school called Calgary Academy, and he hasn't had any support for quite a few years. Tyler, on the other hand, that's Cole. Tyler, on the other hand, he goes to a special school that's just focused with kids with autism called New Heights. He still gets additional support. They're both really aware of what I'm doing, and the younger two absolutely are aware. The older boys are actually really good runners too. They're 15 years old now, and Cole does cross country and places well in it. And so him and I have gone for runs, and I can take Tyler out for runs too. He doesn't love it, but he can go run a 5K with me.
That's
No
awesome.
problem. So, and yeah, I mean, the younger two, they're 7 and 9, maybe not quite into it as much, but they both like to run more just playing around than anything else. So,
Well, and do you feel like your access to services, or maybe, the background that you and or your wife might have, um, had something to do with alleviating the symptoms that were initially present when your boys were younger? Do you?
yes, I
ha-
firmly believe in that. We're beyond grateful for the organizations that we got in with when they were young. There was two key organizations. One was called Autism Partnership, that was focused on ABA, which I'm aware you guys are proponents of ABA, and they were very focused on it. They're private, like we still are. FSCD funding can be used with them, but we were able to tailor the program the way we wanted it to be, not the way the government would have had it. And so if we wanted to go above and beyond and pay more for extra aids or higher quality aids, we could do that. And that program was amazing. And then the other one was called, the one I mentioned before that I raised money for, BTLC, Behavior Therapy and Learning School. It's a preschool for kids with autism. And they were joined as well. They were in the same office. I was on the board for BTLC for probably 4 or 5 years, and they also used ABA, and they just had great people in there. And yeah, I firmly believe that the development our boys have had has been very, very impacted by those two organizations and the people they had there.
Yeah.
And this is where, again, I go back that not every family gets this, and not every family has the ability to fund extra, extra services. And I mean, we found, I don't know if this is the path that to go down, but we found, like with the FSCD, for instance, like the education I had and the fact that I could read through their regulations, and they couldn't, we'd have comments of, well, this is what we do for every family. And I could pull the regulations, and we knew other families and could call them out on it. It helped our kids get better services.
Yep.
So this is where I see, if what Andrea and I can do now to try to help those other kids that didn't get what the boys got.
Yeah, we have a really similar story. Like, we had some early intervention ABA preschool type programs in our lives. Our children are severely affected at this point, but I couldn't imagine not having the strategies and the tools and the progression that we had in their early years, and how much harder it would be now than it is. And for just to see families slip through the cracks and not have access to that, or not know the networking or what they need to do to be even to access those services. So I really like the way that it's people that made a difference for your kids. People, like real people and real programs, not like go to this website or read this book or fill out this survey. No, like we need human help. And like it's hard to come by and it's expensive. And the resource for humans is kind of scarce in our province right now. For like, if I have somebody come into my house to support me, or I can take my child somewhere and they can develop a new relationship, whether it's like recreational, social, or a therapeutic based, a learning based relationship. I think that that's really what's missing here for many families and clients with autism. So I was just so excited to hear that a lot of these programs that you're raising funds for are like humans who work with humans. You know, like that's so important, I feel.
Well, and we've said that before, Amy. I mean, obviously, as you can tell, Mike, I've got a bit of a trump card in our family, is that she knew the programs very, very well when the kids were young. So, but if Amy had not been around and it was me, it would have been drastically different. So I like when you said that we're raising for those families that didn't have the ability to read the texts and read in between the lines and see what they were missing, because that's not one of the number one questions we get as parents and that have gone through this many steps is how did you do it? Because most don't know, and most haven't been told or informed, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's where again I feel very lucky with Andrea and I being on the same page on this. We formed a good team. Like she went out and found all the service providers. She went to like trade shows or whatever things that were out there like that. She went to all the schools. She had all those conversations, and I mean she found these two autism partnerships in BTLC, and then I could handle more of the working with the AAFS on the contracts and going through the regulations and stuff that my skill set kind of aligned to. But we had, and you guys I'm sure the same, like we had people in our house all the time. Andrew was running kids to preschool, and then there's therapy in our house for the whole rest of the day. And it was beyond a full-time job for her to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and we had the benefit that I had a really good job. And so we didn't have to have both of us work. So she could be full-time with the kids and I could be full-time, providing financially for all of us and give her a break when I get home. But it's hard, and it's not, that's where, again, some families just don't have that same ability to do it. So
it's an eerily similar story.
I gotta have coffee with your wife, I swear. Anytime somebody comes to our house, our kids think that they're there for them, and that's it. So I'm like, if you're coming to my house, my kid's probably smelling you and inviting you in and sitting on your lap. So if you're not up for that, don't come over. I'll meet you somewhere else.
I kind of have a funny story on that. When the boys were in grade 1, just before grade 1, we moved to a different community, and it was for the school. It's a little community called Redwood Meadows, and it's just outside Calgary, and they go to this school called Bragg Creek, just another community there. And when we moved, and then the AP staff showed up, Tyler had this horrified look on his face because he thought that they went to that house, and I've escaped them all. And now I'm on the new house, and he showed up and he was just like, what is going on? I thought, how did they find me here? I thought I've escaped now, but they were now at the new house and part of our family there as well.
So I think we could go down this one for hours. So I want to pull it back a little bit. So I'm not going to lie. I sent out the fundraising campaign kind of last week. And the first thing people said was, are you running? Because if I'm the one running, we're probably getting a defibrillator somewhere in the range. But tell us, I guess, just going back to the 10 in 10 in 10, how did you come up with the concept? Like where did it come from? Obviously you've run the marathons and stuff, but where did the concept if we were going to run 400 and some kilometers in 10 days?
Like it's a few things. In 2020, just during COVID, I started running more because I didn't have to commute. You have more time, those kind of things. And I started running. It was June 2020. I decided I want to see how many half marathons I could run in a month. And so I just started running them pretty much every day. I did 24 in the month, and I had never ran anything back to back like that ever before. And I mean, I got like it hurt a lot. I went through a lot of pain, which my wife, I'm sure, was wondering, like, why are you doing this? What are you accomplishing? So I got the idea of the back to back endurance, and then also just watching documentaries on various people doing big endurance things. And there's one thing out there called the World Marathon Challenge, which is 7 marathons in 7 days in 7 continents. And for it, you have to pay $50,000 US. They do it every year. It's all chartered. They feed you. They do all that stuff. So it was, with some of those things, I didn't want to have to pay for this. I wanted to use a way to raise money instead. And this is very Canadian to do it across the 10 provinces. We thought I had done back-to-back marathons a few times. So I thought physically it would push us like a lot. But physically we could do it. And it definitely was. And I get this, the reaction I look for is when people, are really caught off guard by it. And I've had my dad asked me if I was going to die doing it. And I've had people say, well, you can't physically do it, or you guys are alternating days, right? Or, I mean, one of my favorite one is, so how long are you guys taking to do this? And it's like, well, 10 days.
10 days.
But to get that reaction from it is what we're hoping, because we want people to, if they're used to raising, giving a couple $100 to, a cancer society year after year, this is kind of a one-off. Do a lot more than what you usually would, because this is a lot more than what you generally see. And hopefully that way it's the path to $1 million.
Can you tell us what your timeline is? When's your start date? When's your end date? How can people, is there a website or something that we can access to donate? And then tell us all about your Saskatchewan run.
Yeah, so we start May 16th in St. John's, Newfoundland. It worked out perfect for us there. Synovus, where I work at, has an office in St. John, so we're aligned with that. We're the daily marathon sponsor that you guys are supporting in Regina. Mm-hmm. They're doing that marathon out there. And then we actually the timing was actually all set on ending on May 25th in Calgary, which is the official Service Calgary Marathon. And so we actually have to go Regina, Vancouver, back to Calgary. But we wanted to end on that run. The idea behind that, one is just we're from here and friends and family and all that stuff makes a lot of sense. The other part is that we're trying to get as many people as we can to run with us at that race, especially, although they could do it anywhere across the country, and then raise money on our behalf. And we've had some great, I think our top fundraiser already is about $3,000. And people that have never ran a half marathon, for instance, that's really pushing them going out to their network to raise money. So as far as the actual, a large amount of the money that we're raising is through our website, which is 10in10in10.ca. It's the numbers 10. We had it set up there so you can select which charity you want to donate to. And then you can also select which chapter you want to donate to. So if people from Regina want to donate to Regina, there's a drop-down list under Big Brothers, Big Sister, and KidSport. So the money stays local in Regina. Or there's actually just a drop-down. If the easy button is, the first one is donate to the chapter closest to my postal code. And it'll just stay local. So we're partnered with KidSport Canada, Big Brothers, Big Sisters Canada. Again, Autism Asperger's Friendship Society is more Calgary-based, but I really love the idea that you guys have of supporting a local autism organization as well. We're definitely supportive of that. If we can help, get more discussion around autism as we're doing this and support any local charities, we definitely can. So I think we're in Regina. Is it the 21st?
23rd, I thought. But
you're
I
right,
could
23rd. You're 23rd. My math is way off. So yes, 23rd will be in Regina, and Dave, my partner, is planning all the routes selection, and they're all based basically off if there's a marathon in Regina, marathons. They'll just look at those routes, and that will be the foundation of it. He might do a few tweaks on it. Some of those have road closures and stuff, but that's kind of the main part of it.
So how do you get the logistics to line up so you're getting province wide?
Sorry. So which part of the logistics? Like the
Well, you taking airplanes? Are we driving?
to get there. Oh yeah.
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 So
I've missed enough flights. I'm just wondering.
well, we have contingency planning that we are working through. We are on 4 flights.
Okay.
So when we're in St. John's, we're going to St. John's quite a bit early, so that should be fine. We fly to Halifax, and then we drive all the way through to Toronto. We have a flight to Winnipeg, drive to Regina, fly to Vancouver, fly back to Calgary. Most of our flights are around 4 to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And there's later flights in every case.
If you had to.
Our worst case scenario, which I hope we never have to do, and we're going to line this up, is basically you just phone a private airline, and we'd have to get a
quick jump
wherever it is, which would be very expensive, but we take care of it. And I mean that is one of the things that we do try to make sure everybody's aware is 100% of donations go to the charities. The cost for the actual event, Dave and I will cover ourselves. If we can get people to donate a hotel, or if Air Canada can jump in and give us free flights, we'll take those.
Take it.
But 100% of the donations all go to the charities.
Yeah, and that's kind of when I started reaching out. I talked to you. I guess I emailed you yesterday about kind of what we'd come back is, and I thank you. I'll do a formal thank you for our clients and the ones that jumped on board. But we were just trying to get the 10,000 just to do the Regina race, and within 4 days we were at 21,000, and honestly, that's when I reached out to you and said, okay, what are we doing with the money?
Yeah, you had an overwhelming response of support so quickly. It was amazing.
Well, I think part of it was, and thank you to the Heber group for matching a whole bunch. And obviously I had one big donor of my ex-employer, which I really appreciate from them. And like I said, I'll reach out to each of you and do some social media for everybody on that, because it was overwhelming, and it was nice to see, because I think we've shared our story enough. But what is the total at right now, Mike? That are we close to the million, or do we need to push?
Yeah, I mean, with committed donations, I got $10,000 this morning too, actually, for the Halifax marathon, which was fantastic. So with committed donations, we're probably just over 600 right now.
Okay.
And that's, again, under committed, we put you guys under committed. We have, 480,000, I think, that would be like in the bank right now.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where we're at. And I mean, we still, it's a good number to be over 600. But we still try to say that 400 is still a big number too. And we've got quite a few irons in the fire right now. And, people that are going out to their network like you did, that's what really helps us getting there. It's not just people we talk to, it's when they talk to somebody else and it really spreads. So yeah, we're happy with the progress, but we still got a long ways to go.
No. So I guess I want to ask a little bit about the day. So we get up, we stretch. What's the
eat a big breakfast
after you run 200K and we're on to race number 5? What is the day? What does the day look like, Mike? I'm interested. Truthfully,
I expect we'll get up around 5. We're planning on starting each run at 7, and it's partially just to be ready in time for the flights later on. So yeah, we'll get up at 5. Hopefully be at the start line around 6:30ish, 6:40, somewhere in there, and that's where we're hoping to have representation from our sponsor and the 2 local charities for sure there. And then, if the other autism group that you've mentioned, if they wanted to come there that day would be great. And then the hope is between that group of people, they'll contact the media, and we will be doing some media outreach as well. And so the media could do something there that helps get the sponsor's name out there in the news as well. And then basically Dave and I start at 7. And if anybody's coming with us, we're done around, say, 11:30 to 12. That's our target, is 4.5 hours. And then we kind of have a couple hours there of, if there's any follow up with the media, but we basically have 2 hours that we have to eat, That's the stretching and therapy. We're hoping to have a physio on call in every city too.
Yeah.
Shower, change, and get to the airport. So that's going to be a tight window. And then we get on a flight and we're off to the next one. So, I mean, I don't know what the drive is between Winnipeg and Regina. It's 5-6 hours, somewhere there.
Yeah, somewhere in the 6-7. Yeah.
6.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't get in the night before till probably 8:30, somewhere in there. So, I mean, and we're not driving, fortunately. Dave and I aren't. We will have drivers with us, but yeah, it'll be a full day. There's a few drives that are only like 3 hours, which will seem fantastic. And I mean, Dave and I, when we're in the RV, that's what we're planning on taking. I know that's where we'll be firing out emails, text messages, all that stuff to try to get us over the line.
I think I can make a kilometer or two, Amy. You can probably do a few more than I can, but
I might be good for an hour or so. After that, I need some training. But no, that's good. I hope you get some company with you on your runs. Definitely, it would be nice for you to have some support. Yeah. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. Is your family like tagging along in the RV? Are they watching from home and waiting for you to get back to Calgary? Or
no, they're all staying at home. They'll be. I mean, they're in school too, so I think my mother-in-law's come to stay with Andrea while we're gone. They'll definitely be at Calgary at the final race.
Yeah.
We have an area set up afterwards that we'll all gather at, and I'm hoping to actually bring them on the run for the last kilometer or so, just to cross the line with me. Will be pretty good. I envision that moment often when I'm in the middle of a 3 to 4 hour run and it's not feeling overly comfortable. Sometimes that helps me.
I guess. Is there any other strategies that you use when you're like in the thick of it, besides your, big picture vision to keep pushing when your ankle is killing you and you got a cramp in your side and your stomach is growling and you sweat so much there's no fluid coming out of your body anymore?
I mean, I have to remind myself why I'm doing this, and I mean, I do somewhat it's hard out there some days. It really is hard. But I also, I feel it benefits me long-term. Doing hard things makes other things in your life easier. So I somewhat enjoy it at times, although, you have to play mental games with yourself. You have to ask yourself why you're doing it. You think about the finish line, all that kind of stuff. But
I hope you get a windless day in Saskatchewan when your run comes around. I wish you luck with that.
Yeah, the wind is Dave and I were talking about that when we were running the other day. It's like the wind is the weather I dislike the most as well. Just going into a strong wind is just, that makes me angry. You're just so inefficient. But
double the donations on a windy day.
Yeah,
let's go.
Yes, I like that. Yes.
Well, it's interesting because part of what it drew me to it, to be open with you, Mike, was that, like I said, our stories are very similar. B, we both, I mean, Amy can back me on this one, as we chose fitness as a bit of a therapy. So when times got tough with the boys, it was kind of our getaway for a couple hours. We used to laugh. We used to call it date night because we'd go to the gym together every morning kind of thing. And it turned into probably more than that now, I would say, Amy, more of a lifestyle now. But I can remember when we started it was part of it. And I've told the story before in front of crowds, was I used to have to carry my oldest up 2 flights of stairs to put him to bed every night. And one night I didn't get up the 2 flights of stairs. I had to stop because I was so out of breath and I was out of shape. And Amy and I discussed, and I mean, I had a trainer by the weekend after that because I knew I had to change something. And since then it's kind of been haven't looked back. So that was kind of what drew me to the story, was just the fitness aspect, but also the fundraising for autism and then the fitness on the side of it. So
yeah, I think Andrea and I are both similar, that she's not a runner, but she likes the gym and she tries to go every day to that. And I think it's that, time for yourself that makes you feel better every day. And it's definitely, it helps for everybody, but it helps when there's things at home that are more challenging. It's that reprieve you need. So
It definitely. Thank you so much for your time, Mike, and sharing your story with us. And we just wish you the best with all of your I guess, marathon endeavors. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Evan, before we let him go?
No, I'm going to get him to repeat the website, and then obviously where to go to donate, all that stuff. Mike, I'll let you give one more shot at that before we shut this down.
Yeah, so the website, again, it's 10in10in10.ca, so the 10. And we'll be in Regina on May 23rd, and look forward to seeing you guys in person there. And everybody, we encourage you to go online and donate. And if there is any other companies that are looking at supporting, just go on our website. There's various ways they can get involved also.
Yeah, and you will see us bright and early, May 23rd, probably with a couple of very unhappy children at the time. But
well, Evan might be at the start line and I might be at the finish line with the kids to do the last kilometer.
That sounds perfect.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike, for jumping on with us. And I want to tell everybody else, you can find ours at evanshout.com. That's where the rest of the podcasts are. And that is Raising Different.